Hi everyone, I'm Tom and today I'm going to be showing you Nocturne, a game where we play as Fox Mystics, casting spells and collecting these magical items. We decide when we want to cast our most powerful spells to get exactly what we need. Some are collected in sets, some want you to collect unique varieties, some items you'll want to complete concoctions, and you'll be trying your best to achieve goal cards. This is all over one night and 2 rounds. We have Twilight and then Moonlight, and the game is over. This is on Kickstarter right now from Flat Out Games, whose collaborations have brought us in the past Cascadia, Verdant, Calico, Fit to Print, Poinsettia, loads and loads and loads now. And here I'm going to give you a quick overview of how the game plays. Full disclosure, I was paid to make this overview video. So I am the Mystic Abigail Bushtail. I have a starting concoction card here. I would like by the end of the game to have collected items with these symbols on. If I can just do one row, it'll get me 2 points. If I can get all 4 symbols across tiles that I have, I can get 5 points. I have all of these spell tiles. You do remove some the higher the player count is. Here we set up for a 2-player game. So we've got the numbers 1 to 7. We've got the star, which is the most powerful of the spells, and then a pass token. And Little Glass Monty, who's helping me here, is going to be Flint Whiskerstone, who has a similar setup. Now over here is our forest and everything that's available in it. There are tons of tiles. This is the selection we've got for our first round, and again the size and shape of this display changes based on the player count. So the first player will choose their lowest valued spell and choose somewhere to start in the forest. So let's say I'd quite like an egg for my symbols, although I'm unlikely to get it with my first thing. Let's just pop it on there though. So I'm casting a spell trying to get this egg, and then it's down to each other player in order to decide, do they want to play a spell of a higher value or do they want to pass? If they want to play a spell of a higher value, they grab one and they need to put it on an orthogonally adjacent tile. So in a way we're bidding for these tiles, but you're bidding for the next tile along. So you might think, oh, he wants mushrooms. Maybe he wants to bid more than 2 though. Maybe he thinks that I'll pass if he throws a 4 in there. Whoops, upside down tile. And so on we go until somebody decides to pass, or they can't play something of a higher number because we are going to lose these tokens as things get played. So Marty might decide he's not interested in bidding 6, 7 or the ultimate star spell to get one of these adjacent things. They say, no, you take that. The person with the highest value spell takes the tile that they have won now by casting the most impressive spell, flips it face down, that spell is gone. I get this item, which is actually an enchanted stone. This does a special thing. You get to draw 3 of these concoction cards and decide which you would like to keep. You see, they're worth various amounts of points, just like our starting one. So you can be basing this on something you've collected. I've just collected the skull symbol here, so I might want to grab something that's going to reward me for collecting those. Each symbol can only be used once though, so I can be building up something later on. Everyone who didn't win the tile has the option of taking all of their tokens back, or they can put one of them on the forest sprite board. They are put here in numerical order. So in the future, if someone else's 3 went on there, it would go to the right. If someone put a 5, it would go and slide all of the others over. In a 2-player game, you can see there's only 4 spaces, and tokens eventually get slid off and given back to their players. Now, having tokens on here can be important for things that matter for turn order. And at the end of the round, we are going to get to draft the tiles on this board in the order our tokens are in. I won the tile, so I would be starting player for the next round. So now the starting tile needs to be one that's orthogonally adjacent to the tile that was just won. But I don't have to use my lowest number anymore. I can use any number. I can just jump in there if I desperately want something. I could just jump in there with my star if I wanted. Something else to think about is these Twilight goals. So only 3 come out per game, and the first person to do this gets to claim the card and the 3 points that it offers. So make the lowest offering to the forest sprites, be the first to win a tile with a 3 spell, or be the first to have 4 different symbol types. So I'm in the lead for that. So you can be using those to guide what you might want, as well as your concoctions and the points offered by the tiles themselves. If I didn't want to start on any of these available tiles, I could pass, but then Marty would be the new starting player and he could start anywhere on the board. You could also win tiles, say in a slightly different situation, not necessarily because you've placed the highest number available, but you're in a situation where there is nothing orthogonally adjacent for the next player to be able to place a spell in there, so you would automatically win that. You'd still lose your spell tile, you'd still get to put spells out on the forest sprite board. Winning a cursed chest like this lets you draw 3 of the tiles that haven't come into the game yet and keep 1 of them, and the other 2 are going to be removed from the game completely. So since I want a lot of eggs and I haven't even got 1 yet, I think I'd choose one of those. And this leads to a situation called corner casting. So now I've just won the last tile and I choose where to start in one of these orthogonally adjacent spaces. I could, just with a 1 tile, win this corner because there's nothing orthogonally adjacent. There is nothing Marty can do about it. But why wouldn't I want to win with a 3 spell and be the first to win a tile with a 3 spell? Get to gather another concoction, get another symbol for me. Now usually the person winning the tile starts the next round, but if you've done some corner casting, if you got yourself an item where no one had the chance to contest, then the next player goes first and they would get to start anywhere. And there's a nice easy corner cast available right there as well that Marty could just take with a 1. So we keep going now until all of the tiles have been taken or everybody has passed on what's left. And then we can go to the forest sprite board. So here's where we've made offerings to the forest sprites. And starting with the highest spell token on here, we take turns drafting tiles from this display. So I would get to take 1, then Marty could take 2, and then I would get the last remaining one. But the lowest offering that managed to stay on the board was mine, so I would get to claim these 3 points in the goal. Then we award shadow spell tokens. Everyone that's got leftover spell tokens at the end of the round gets a shadow spell token. Starting with the highest one that's left over. So in fact, Marty used all of his. So I would get a 10, a 9, and an 8 for next time. If we had ties to break, they'd be broken in this order that's on the forest sprite board. Then we get all of our tokens back from the forest grid. And for every shadow token you were awarded, you have to lose your lowest numbered normal token. And then we draw some moonlight goals. These can be achieved by everybody. So we've got a point for every offering to the forest sprites, a point for every space in your largest control area. Control areas are formed by having, spaces next to each other of your own winning tokens. And the same, but a point for every center space you've managed to get. Then we'd refill the grid the same size as before with new tiles that haven't come into the game yet. We'd refill the sprite board and we'd have another go through. At the end of that round, we resolve the forest sprite board one more time. Then we get to assign our mirror stones. So these are items that just copy one of your other items. So you'd decide what you'd want to copy there and go to the final scoring, and everything scores in a unique way. The skulls are just worth the points on them, so in this case 4 points. The feathers would like you to gather big sets of them, so just for having one like this you'd get 2 points, but if you could get 7 feathers it'd be worth 32 points. Mushrooms want you to have sets of that particular mushroom, so just for having one here the set would be worth 3. If you had 2 it would be worth nothing, but if you had 3 it would be worth 13. And this one, nothing for 1, but 9 for 2. The herbs score points based on each unique one you've got. So D is worth 3 points, E is worth 1 point. But then there is a value for how many unique things you've managed to find. So if you get one more unique herb, the set would be worth 5 points on top of everything it was worth individually. The eggs are worth points based on who has got the most. So if you've got the most eggs, every one is worth 4 points to you. Second, they're worth 3 points each, and so on. If there's a tie like there is currently, then ties are broken by the forest sprite board. You lose a point for every cursed treasure chest. You score points based on the concoctions you've managed to fill. Add your points for your Twilight and Moonlight goal cards that you've achieved. Every spell token you didn't use in the Moonlight round is worth 2 points each. Add them up and the most points wins. There is also a slightly advanced variant where our characters have special abilities. So Abigail's here. Before casting a spell, you could swap the position of any 2 tiles in play. It's just a one-off ability. If you didn't use this by the end of the game, you would score an extra 2 points for that. As another example, Flint's is after capturing a tile, you could choose to discard it to draw 5 tiles and keep 1 instead if you won something that you didn't particularly want. There's going to be a solo mode that's currently in development. It's not in my prototype yet. That's going to incorporate an AI deck. As with all the other games I mentioned at the start, there's going to be a family variant to simplify it and play it with new players or younger players. And there we go. That is Nocturne. I hope that's given you a good idea what the game is like. Again, it's on Kickstarter right now. There's a link in the description to go to the campaign page, see all of the final stuff. This is just a prototype, and see how to make it happen and get hold of a copy for yourself. If you would like to know what I think about the game, that is coming up very shortly. If you would not like to know that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next game. But if you do, I've got a feeling I'm about to appear very, very soon. Right now. Hi everyone, told you, I have been superimposed over the game. So, what I think of Nocturne, I think it's an absolutely amazing kind of blending between set collection and all these things have a different way of scoring, and that's brilliant. But the kind of strange auction that's happening here, especially as predominantly two-player gamers, auctions don't really work for us at all, with a few exceptions. But the kind of, you're bidding on something that's not the item that was previously bid on. This grid makes it a wonderful puzzle that you're kind of navigating to try and, you don't necessarily want to put a bid on something you do want in the end, because it's your only chance. The track is going to move over there. Your item is coming up. Do you put the great big bid on there, hoping you aren't going to be outbid, but then this token's gone for the rest of the round? Are you hoping to put out a load of bids so you will get to put some tokens in the forest sprite wall? But again, they're gone unless they get pushed off until later. You've got a lovely little bit of guiding from your starting concoction recipe as the kind of thing that you want, but then based on how the game kind of starts flowing and what you end up with, you start to see that, oh, I'm actually leading in eggs by quite a bit, so getting the rest of them, they're all going to be worth 4 points each, and that's going to be tons. I can see they're going for herbs, so maybe I need to get in on that and not let them get all of the unique ones like that. Do I want to be in a good standing for the forest sprite board, because although you might be losing great tiles, you're getting the draft of them later on, but you're also determining the tiebreaker. Is it worth me bidding on those last things at the end of the round, because I could be getting the special higher tokens to give me much better leverage in the final round, where I might really want to make certain plays to try and win loads of points in those moonlight goals. So many different things to be going for, whether it's just opportunity of the goals as they're coming up, whether it's trying to build your tableau, and probably some combination of all of those things. But this lovely puzzle between the players as well. It's not just you trying to work out how to get exactly what you want, because it's in someone else's hands straight away after yours. Whether they want to pass or continue this, trying to kind of decide where this path is going to go. It's quite open at the start, but as it starts closing up, as tiles disappear from it, how can you kind of steer it towards the thing you ultimately want, or steer it into a position where when your next bid comes up, maybe it's in a place where no one else is going to be able to place a token, so you're just going to be able to take it for whatever value you put down. Being able to just take those corner tiles where you just get to make one bid and just take the whole thing. It's a really dynamic, interesting system, and yeah, it's another wonderful thing from Flatout. This time it's designer David Iezzi, but then Flatout has the collab where they all kind of work together. Designers you have seen on all of the other titles that I mentioned at the start: Cascadia, Calico, Verdant, Point City. There's just loads of them now. I'm always impressed when I see a new prototype, and yeah, they're just kind of, there's going to be a family mode as well to simplify it further, but the core thing of getting into this, it's something new and interesting, but I don't think it's hard to learn either. It's going to be further simplified by the family mode, but the ways that they score even is quite apparent on the tiles themselves. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting one to get a solo mode as well. Really looking forward to seeing how that works out. It's going to have an AI deck simulating a player. It's not in my prototype currently, but yeah, can't wait to see that out as well. Almost forgot to say the absolutely gorgeous artwork, as it always is, by Beth Sobel really makes it stand out, really gives it a wonderful presence on the table, especially when you're building up a tableau of something, when you're getting all this gorgeous artwork in front of you. Yeah, but absolutely fantastic again, but never mind what I think. You can check out the overview part and see how the game works, and hopefully that gave you an idea of whether or not you would like to investigate further. But yeah, the Kickstarter page is linked in the description. You can find out there. If you'd like to see more from me, hey, I've got playthroughs or overviews or something for most of those games that I mentioned, and if not yet, there'll be some on the way, I'm sure. Thank you very much for watching this, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye everyone.